So, we are going to go over the Xbox Series X, the fastest and most powerful Xbox, apparently. Which, I mean, yeah, it's going to be. But we're going to start off with the fact that it is the Series X, not the One X. Get that right. It comes out in holiday 2020. It is fully backwards compatible with absolutely everything that you can currently do on your Xbox One. It will be compatible with Game Pass. It will be compatible with xCloud. You're going to get 120 FPS, hopefully, in terms of your SPF mode, with variable refresh rate, which means FreeSync and hopefully G-Sync monitors will work with it. It is an AMD setup in there, not an NVIDIA setup, but NVIDIA does work with AMD things most of the time. So, yes, 8K was flown around a few times, but it's not really going to be 8K gaming you're going to be focusing on because even the best PC you can build really can't push 8K to be playable, especially if you throw in ray tracing. 4K is basically impossible to ray trace at a nice frame rate. So it's going to be just like the way the Xbox One S launched. So, yes, it'll run 4K video, not graphics. You can output 8K video, which would make complete sense, and then you're still going to be able to play in 4K. There's going to be no way this thing can run 8K graphics unless you can somehow customize your graphic settings and turn them all the way down. No ray tracing or anything. Maybe then you'll get 8K. So, but yeah, from what we've seen of 4K footage of the new Senua game, Hellblade 2, it looks incredible. Photo-based graphics are amazing, just as good as they are on PC. It looks pretty friggin' unbelievable, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. You guys saw it. It looks great. The 2080 Ti is going to be our benchmark here for what we're comparing to. So that gets an average of 50 to 85 FPS playing the newest Tomb Raider at 4K Ultra with no ray tracing. That is the best thing PC has to offer. Okay? So the graphics card in the Xbox is going to be 12 teraflops. It's going to be double the Xbox One X, which had 6, which is fantastic. And it has 16 gigs of GDDR6 video RAM. 13 of that is specified for gaming. So 13, not 16. 13 is for gaming. Okay, the 2080 Ti, which I just told you the stats for, has 11 gigs of graphics GDDR6 for gaming, so 2 less, and it has 14 T-flops instead of 12 T-flops. So give or take a little bit of performance here in either direction. Let's say the Xbox is slightly more expensive or slightly better graphics than the highest PC graphics card you can currently get at the moment. Then you're looking at least 53 to 85 FPS at Ultra 4K, no ray tracing, on a game like Tomb Raider, which came out last year. So, which is amazing for a console, don't get me wrong, because a $2,000 to $3,000 PC, that's kind of what you would get with a really nice PC. So if they can sneak this console into like under $1,000, that would be amazing, because the 2080 Ti by itself is like a $1,000 something plus graphics card alone before even having the rest of the computer. So that's pretty damn incredible. The CPU is supposed to be an 8-core 7nm AMD, which is roughly 4 times as powerful. That's the exact specs on that haven't really been. I mean, most of this stuff is leaked anyway, but hasn't really been confirmed by like a lot of outlets. It's kind of hard to find on the internet as well. So let's just go with 4 times as powerful for the CPU. That's pretty common. The PlayStation 5 has had leaks of something regarding the same thing. 7nm is pretty power efficient, which means that one fan should be plenty to cool what's going on under there. And then we got 40 times the bandwidth, which doesn't really make sense to me because the bandwidth for the Xbox One X is 326 gigs per second, and then you multiply that by 40, that's a shit ton, considering that the 2080 Ti, the best thing you can get on a PC right now, has a little bit over 600 gigs per second. So I don't know where that number came around from, but I have a pretty good feeling it's completely off. And then to the game save loading, it's going to be super fast. They're using M.2 SSDs, something that's been in the PC space for a pretty decent amount of time now, and it's getting pretty cheap very recently. So it's no surprise that that's in there. And those usually average a read speed of around 3.5 gigs per second, which is a pretty sizable chunk of a video game at the moment. Um, Most multiplayer maps clock in under 3.5 gigs at the moment. Most sections of levels come in well under that, especially if open worlds are rendering as you move through them, as they are now, and they get better at doing that. Then 3.5 gigs per second is an incredible amount of time. So I mean, what you could load an entire game. If the entire game was one big 50 gig map that you could just step into, you could probably load the entire thing in like 15 seconds with an M.2 SSD, which is incredible. So that's freaking phenomenal. We're gonna get to the look. This thing is a box. I mean, it's the Xbox. It's kind of got a bit of an X going on at the top. There's an X on the front. It's a box. That's what it is. You can put it on its side. That'd be fantastic. Hopefully, there's a vent on the. There has to be a vent on the bottom. There's gonna be one fan, assuming it's the what the green glow was at the top in the trailer, and it's probably going to be pulling air up through the case and pushing it out the top. That would make the most sense. Air comes in through the vacuum at the bottom, shoots it out through the top, heat rises, pretty effective cooling system, and there's probably going to be a decent amount of space going through the middle of that console because it's a box. It gives them some nice flexibility to mess around with the way things are. And who knows, maybe if it actually is as much of a PC as it looks like, you'll be able to slide that box right off the top. Maybe change your graphics card one day. That would be incredible. Honestly, completely amazing. Probably not going to happen though. Onto the controller. It's got a new nice flat finish on the top. The bumpers are nice and curved. I got a nice new little thing going on there with the triggers. There's grips on the triggers, which is pretty fantastic. I'm really liking how that looks. Grips on the triggers is nice. Right over there, you can kind of see a little stubble. You got this new share button. You finally have these cross sections on the D-pad, not in a controller that's below the Elite price, so that's nice, finally. Probably an integrated battery they're going to take after the Elite. That would make complete sense to me. I'm seeing one button here, which is probably to sync the controller. I have no idea what the hell this other button is over here. Who knows? Could be anything. And yeah, there's a USB port on the front of the Xbox over here. I would imagine this is a clean render, meaning you won't be able to see where the USB parts on the other parts of this Xbox are. I would imagine they're going to be on the back. There's no way it's going to be a perfect box when it comes out. There needs to be ports, all the ports. Yeah, especially with expandable storage and things like that. So there is that. We'll zoom that back out again. And then to quickly go over the last few things. Launch titles, Halo Infinite and Hellblade 2, both are going to be freaking amazing, especially from what we've seen of both of them already. And we haven't had a Forza in a really long time. I would imagine a Forza is definitely going to be on the list, as well as at least a couple of new IPs because they bought a bunch of studios and they're probably raring to go. And then I would imagine Minecraft RTX is probably not going to launch until close to the release of this Xbox, or it's going to be really, really early 2020. So that because if they can't do it right away because of the whole Nvidia wanting rights to it or whatever, you're probably not going to see Minecraft ray tracing on an Xbox for a little while. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe Nvidia will just do it better than whatever AMD can throw in there, but the graphics pack will be the graphics pack. So we'll see, but it's definitely going to be optimized for Nvidia. So I'm very curious to see how that is going to go, unless the graphics card is going to be Nvidia, because I can't see AMD coming up with something uh, that's better than a 2080 Ti for an Xbox. I just can't see that happening. So yeah, so that's literally the entire rundown on this thing. It's a box, it plays games at 4K, it plays video at 8K. It's way faster and way better than anything we've ever seen before. Literally approaching high-end, super high-end PC territory, except on the cooling, which I find a little bit weird. And they didn't touch the controller at all, pretty much, which is great because it's still my favorite controller. And if they ruined it, I would have lost my mind because it's literally the only controller that I like to use of all the controllers I've ever used. Any variation of the Xbox controller has always been great to me. And yeah, that's it. That's my recap. And that's it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. I tried to make it as thorough as possible without being too slow. But yeah, hopefully, you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next video.